Okay, so another change. I'm only going to do this second video, which is on the Supreme Court. I looked at the article for Project 2025, and except for it's horrible, they don't give any specifics as to what makes it horrible. So I'm just going to do the Supreme Court case, which, like I said in my previous video, shocked me because it's this Supreme Court. But anyway, the Supreme Court rejects challenge to Connecticut law that eliminated religious vaccination exemption. Now, here I was totally convinced that if the Louisiana Ten Commandments case got to the Supreme Court, they would side with Louisiana. But based on this, I'm not so sure. But there could be something more to it that I'm missing. So let's just get right to the article. The Supreme Court on Monday rejected a challenge to a 2021 Connecticut law that eliminated the state's long-standing religious exemption from childhood immunization requirements for schools, colleges, and daycare facilities. The justices did not comment in leaving in place a federal appeals court ruling that upheld the contentious law. A lower court judge had earlier dismissed the lawsuit challenging the law, which drew protests at the state capitol. Connecticut law requires students to receive certain immunizations before enrolling in school, allowing some medical exemptions. Prior to 2021, students also could seek religious exemptions. Lawmakers ended the religious exemption over concerns that an uptick in exemption requests was coupled with a decline in vaccination rates in some schools. And to tell you the truth, I never understood the religious exemption. Because it's one thing if you were at a religious school and, you didn't, you basically stayed away from people who, basically you were in some commune and you only were around a certain group of people. But if you're going to be in a public school and you're going to be dealing with kids who, for whatever reason, who get these medical exemptions for whatever reason, cannot get vaccinated, you are putting them in danger. And so even if your religion tells you that you cannot get vaccinated for whatever reason, society says something different. And if you want to be part of society, you have to ensure that you don't kill everyone. So, fully support this decision. So it's kind of sad that Connecticut only did this because they realized that everybody and their mother was getting a religious exemption because they just didn't want to get the shot, and that it was just getting purely ridiculous. It should never have been a thing to begin with. But anyway, the change allowed current students in K through 12 who already had a religious exemption to keep it. That's too bad. This is the end of the road to a challenge to Connecticut's life-saving and fully lawful vaccine requirements, Democratic Attorney General William Tong said in a statement. We have said all along, and the courts have affirmed, the legislature acted responsibly and well within its authority to protect the health of Connecticut families and to stop the spread of preventable disease. Exactly. That I do not understand why it's so hard for people to get that. This is not necessarily to keep you safe. If you don't give a shit if you get whatever disease Fine. This is to prevent others who don't want to get sick from getting sick. Brian Festa, vice president and co-founder of the group We the Patriots USA Incorporated. It's just so sad that the conservatives have taken over that word. I mean, if you hear patriot or someone is patriotic, you immediately assume conservative, which shouldn't be the case. A lead plaintiff in the case called the decision disappointing, but said it's not the end of the road for us in our fight to win back religious exemptions for school children. I've got an idea. Take your kids to a religious school that probably doesn't require the vaccinations, or homeschool. There are options without telling your community that your children matter more than theirs, because that is just horribly stupid, not to mention narcissistic. The group, which has challenged other vaccination laws, including for COVID-19, shocker, had argued along with several parents that Connecticut violated religious freedom protections by removing the exemption. Again, no, because if all this was protecting the person, fine. If you want your kid to get whatever horrible disease that we have easy vaccinations against, fine. That's up to you. That just means you're a horrible parent, and if the kid gets sick and dies, you should be put on trial for murder. But if you want to go that route, fine. However, you do not get to decide that somebody else's kid should get sick and die because you just do not want to protect them. And that is what people are not grasping, that this isn't just about them. If it was, fine, do whatever you want. Nobody cares. The new law shows a hostility to religious believers, no it doesn't, and jeopardizes their rights to medical freedom and child rearing, they said in court papers. Again, what about your hostility towards, in people who are immunocompromised or whatever other medical exemptions these children have? Why are you hostile to their ability to live? Why do you think that your desire to live a certain way, why do you think that should have any effect on other people? That to me says that you only care about yourself, you're only thinking about yourself, and you don't give a shit about anybody else. And that's why we have these rules. Because it's not to protect you, it's to protect the society. And if you don't care about society, may I suggest you find a nice cave to live in. All right. Tong's office said only one part of the case remains active. It involves a single plaintiff's claim based on the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. While the office said it was confident the claim will be dismissed, Festa said federal law is clear that schools are required to provide a free and appropriate education for children with disabilities who have individual education plans, even if a child claims a religious exemption to vaccinations. I'm confused. What is this plaintiff challenging? That disabled kids should just get up and die and that they're not worth it? I'm not sure what the basis for that is. I'm very confused. We the Patriots USA also has an ongoing federal lawsuit filed on behalf of a Christian preschool and daycare that's challenging Connecticut's vaccine mandate on constitutional grounds. Now, see, I don't know what Connecticut's constitution says, but it's like what I just said. If it's a Christian preschool, does the state have that might? Because we do live in a country where there is a separation of church and state. So they might actually have a case on this one because it is a Christian preschool. And my understanding is that if you go to a religious school, then you're basically putting your life in the hands of people who, don't actually care about things like vaccines, potentially. Let's see. That they don't care, that they get to pick and choose who gets to go to that school. So there's all sorts of reasons to not want your kids in that schools. But I don't know if the state can mandate that. Because it is, again, a Christian school. Now, granted, not all Christians are anti-vaxxers. But, yeah, I don't know about that one. It is our practice at We the Patriots USA. I die a little inside whenever I say that name. To battle on many fronts simultaneously and to never put all our eggs in one basket, Vesta said, calling the Supreme Court's decision on Monday one setback but far from a total defeat. It's just too bad they didn't actually give an opinion as to why they rejected it. I would have been interested to know what the contention was. And that is the end of this article. Yeah, I would love to know what the opinion was, why why they didn't overturn this, and what the ruling actually was. I mean, did they just say, yeah, we're not taking this case on, which it sounds like what it said, because there's no decision, whether it was a split decision, whether it was a unanimous one. I highly doubt with people like Thomas and Alito on the court that it would be. But yeah, I'm curious as to how in depth this decision goes. I guess I'm going to have to wait for the next Strict Scrutiny podcast, and hopefully they'll explain it. But with that, I believe that is all I have for this video. And again, my apologies for making two separate videos, because I honestly thought that this would take that previous video way over an hour, and now I see, it would have been about an hour. But anyway, with that, I believe I said everything I wanted to, and I will see you guys in the next video.